Richard Ernest Brown, nicknamed Dick, born 1935. He's from a small coal mining town in West Virginia, and his ancestors lived in the area and were coal miners since before the Civil War. The family moved to Florida and opened up a shop when Dick was 7, and he would grow up working around the store. And wouldn't play baseball until his junior year, and didn't play football and basketball until he was a senior, saying, "I guess the reason I went out late was that I didn't have enough ability. I was small." Yet, Dick Brown was named the outstanding athlete on his Lake Worth basketball team. He played outfield and pitched his first year on the Lake Worth High, but was asked to switch to be a catcher because his American Legion team needed one. This worked out nice for his high school coach, who needed a catcher that could handle Lake Worth High's hard-throwing star pitcher and future MLB Rookie of the Year, Herb Score. Dad got these in 1958 spring training camp in Scottsdale, Arizona. This one here is against the Cleveland Indians. Those are all Indians autographs. This one over here is against the San Francisco Giants. Turns out, Dick was dating Herb's sister, Helen. The two ball players would lead their team to the 1952 high school state championship, with the heavily scouted Herb Score signing with the Cleveland Indians right out of high school for a reported $50,000, while Dick Brown received a baseball scholarship from Florida State University, where he enrolled in dentistry. He went for one semester and then left, and he too would also sign with the Cleveland Indians for $3,000. Previously, when the scouts were taking a look at Herb, his sister Helen told Cleveland's chief scout, Laddie Plassick, "You should have signed Dick Brown." Not long after, the Indians would take a second look at the 6'2", 175-pounder, and they did sign him. Dick said, "When the scouts came to look at Herb, I guess some of them noticed that I could catch the ball. That's how I got my chance." Cleveland sent him to Green Bay Blue Ribbons of the Wisconsin State League, Class D, at the bottom. But between 1953 and 1965, Dick Brown played on these 4 MLB teams, and he has baseball cards for each one. He spent 3 seasons with the Cleveland Indians, then was part of a trade to the Chicago White Sox that involved Minnie Minnoso and Norm Cash. Dick Brown would later end up on the Detroit Tigers, where he had his 2 best seasons of his career. But the Tigers would trade him to the Baltimore Orioles for Whitey Herzog and Gus Triandos. He would play 3 seasons with Baltimore, retiring as a major leaguer at the age of 30 after playing in over 600 big league games during his 9 seasons in MLB, knocking out 62 homers. A few career highlights include back-to-back home runs he hit with Norm Cash and Steve Boros in 1961. Another highlight was a grand slam a few weeks earlier that season. He also caught for 6 Hall of Fame pitchers. His lowlights? Well, they were as low as you can get, so I'll make it quick and then I'm gonna hook it. He played in his last MLB game in October of 1965, and with the upcoming 1966 season, the season they won the World Series, he was expected to retain his starting position. But headaches in spring training camp forced him to see a doctor. They discovered brain tumors that were removed. 11 weeks later, they found more. These were inoperable. He was 31. He hung on with Baltimore as a scout until he passed away in 1970 at the age of 35. Richard Ernest Brown got to do what he wanted to do in the prime of his life, at least for a little while. The Orioles asked Dick to throw out the first pitch at the 1966 World Series, Game 3. That must have been real tough. Not only was he dying, but he should have been the starting catcher in that World Series, not on the mound, in front of his home crowd, throwing out a ceremonial first pitch. In a way, he was cheated. by time. He needed just one more year as a healthy player, and he didn't get it.